Hi, welcome to my channel. Today is 26th of April 2024. I am Thomasin E3009. I am doing a three-part presentation on Project Malaysia focus group. The beginning of this talk, I would give a background on why I have arrived at this three-part series. Earlier on, I have done video taking on consortium and also the idea of collaboration between different regions in Malaysia. So this is also a follow-up on a meeting that I recently had with KL friends. And both David and June came to meet up, and we were discussing about how maybe in the future our group may work on some project together and also help the newcomers to the estate agency practice of different parts of Malaysia. So this is an attempt for me to put down in slides and presentation what are my thoughts and also what are possible ways that we can move on from here. So I would term it as more like a so-called movement, group of people coming together to do something together, enjoy doing something together, and a career which we are already in, which is estate agency. And of course, we can choose to just work for someone else, or we want to do something on our own. So let me maybe give this background before I begin the first part. So the subsequent parts would be more towards the details, and also in the final parts, I would also do a more breakdown on the targeted activities that we can do. So let me begin. Okay, welcome to my channel. This is video taking 179, Project Malaysia Focus Groups Part 1. I am Thomasin E3009. Slide was actually conceived when I came back from KL around the time of first week of April. Now it's already the end of April, so I took time to think about what to do and how to put it down into more concise manner. Let me begin. So who is our audience? Who is your target audience? A starting point for us to think about and ponder, whereby we are in estate agency practice, and probably many of us are already in practice for a number of years. How some of them in the market says that you need to be about at least 5 years to be experienced in the job. So I have fulfilled that. I am now on to the 6 years in the job, and therefore completing the exam plus also doing the job probably added up to be around 10 years in the business of estate agency work. So we know that our target audience will be in the way deciding factor for us to forge a business sense forward to capture this market and survive through this profession. So what are we supposed to do with our audience? Our target audience is most of the time taken for granted. So we always think that, well, by random chance, then we've been the agent that they look for us, and therefore we do our job as an agent. But indeed, do you want to just continue doing your work just given to random chance, or do you have a system or think of doing a system that you may in a way do something different from others? Also, that is what I am starting this presentation, asking this question: who are our target audience? Most of us, we've been in business for a while, and we do basically a few things, and one of it is we want to, in a way, have a good footing in the estate agency practice. So we talk about this in the vertical sense. Here I highlight here, there is an arrow, vertical sense, deepen our footing and then do some specialized work, maybe in the area of estate agency practice. Some of us choose to become specialized industrial agent, or some of us do land, and therefore you become part of the bigger one. You mean to see that you are a person specializing in a certain smaller sector. So this is, of course, improving efficiency and also improving your ability to shine yourself and withstand competition. So of course, this is one part that we do, and the other part is we try to widen our influence. And in terms of widening our influence, we talk about horizontal, to talking about doing things that may be not directly as a estate agency practice. I give two examples here. One is doing the AR VR 360, where you expand your skill into doing more technical IT related job, and the other one is education, which is more onto training to the sales force. So we have these two aspects of our potential expansion. One is to go into deeper estate agency practice sub segments, and the other one is to widen our influence into a bigger business platform. So it depends on how you look at this, and of course you may choose to be on yourself and being passive to the market, where you just let the market expand. Your competitor may have gone to subsector, your competitor may have also expanded sideways, but you can choose to just do the same without change, and that is of course your personal choice. But our job today is in trying to come up with a plan, a particular movement, what I call it, is to help we all who are starter, who are new, starting estate agency practices, smaller scale, trying to so-called sustain our business and try to forge forward something which we may feel worthwhile doing for the rest of our life. And that is my purpose, looking at the vertical expansion or the horizontal widening of our business venture. Right, if you take a look at our neighboring country, Singapore, PropNext Singapore, how big is PropNext Singapore? Actually, PropNext Singapore is a big agency, the biggest agency in Singapore, with about 12,000, they call sales people. So the name of salesperson in Singapore is actually the negotiators in Malaysia. So they have more than 12,000 negotiators in that sense. And PropNext and ERA, actually these two bigger companies actually account for 60% of the total number of almost 35 to 36,000 salespersons in Singapore in 2024. So their business type will be estate agency practice, and they do also training as well as business consultation. Business consultation will be more like consultation for launching of project, launching of foreign properties in Singapore or whatever, selling properties from other country to Singaporeans. So these are consultational charges that they do, whereby this is not the same as what we know of in Malaysia. So in Malaysia, the job of an estate agent in a lot of time also inside the firm, which is the VEPM firm, a valuer firm, as well as a property management company. So here in Singapore, the estate agency firm is purely estate agency. There is no valuation or facility management that is tagged to this estate agency practice in Singapore. Their law is different. Their law is Estate Agency Act under an existing standalone act of the parliament. So this is how we look at Singapore, and an example of a big company in Singapore. So for you as a single standalone agency in Malaysia, would you have a dream to do something like this, a big firm in Singapore, or do you actually just be satisfied with retail, one single sole proprietorship company, probably serving about 10 to 15 negotiators? So this is your question. You have to ask yourself whether what do you want to do in your path to become an estate agency practitioner? So can you become like IQI, Propnex or ERA in Malaysia? Is a question that you need to ask yourself. And in fact, do you actually want to be, or do you feel that it is just good to just join them? Big companies come into Malaysia, you just join them, and you probably do not really care about loss of identity. You do not actually care so much about being leasing your license. You don't have any control, and they don't also give any recognition for your role in the expansion of their business. So these are ways that the company runs internally. Big firms, they have their own business culture and the business purpose. So therefore, joining a big company, you actually dilute your own identity with the corporate identity of the firm. Also, whether this is about money, or is it just what is you feel you want to spend the rest of your life? Is a good question to ask if you want to start your own firm. Also, what is your purpose in life? In this, I want to emphasize that if you are not so concerned about having an identity on your own or doing things that you like without an interference from outsiders, then you can anytime join these big mega firms because they are already good with their system, and you can just ride on their system to make a living. Okay, so what option do you have as a negotiator or as a PA or as a registered estate agent coming on to a new entity of your own identity? So you can have a retail business, small retail business with about 5 to 15 to 20 to 25 negotiator. You can also list your license joining big mega firms, and they pay you a salary, taking around 6K or less. In fact, in the recent years, there are too many competitors or many competition. So the salary that is market rate is around 3,000 only. Also, of course, do you want to be respected and have the self-worth of doing your own firm, or you want to join mega firms and just be happy about taking a salary? So my point is actually we are thinking about joining a consortium whereby you are not in fact diluting yourself, but then you are part of a bigger family. So this is a consortium. Everyone operates within his own circle, but the whole consortium work on a bigger front. So this we try to put it as in focus group, Project Malaysia. So this is my purpose of doing this presentation. So anyway, we move on to why, what and how we are in this position or in this crossroad. Do you want to walk your own path, to have your own identity, and then to be able to pass down your own firm to your successors, or you just take another way of looking at life and being comfortable and satisfied with taking a small salary So there is a lot of issue about passing down to successors. If you own your own firm, you can have your future successors inculcated. You inculcate your future successors to take over your firm So there are mega firms which are also from one day earlier there was small sole proprietorship, and over time they grew to become a corporate body, and there is actually some culture, and the founders themselves actually still retain major component of shares inside the control of this firm. So there is a lot of sense of belongings. So in that sense, why you want to start your new firm, new entity, because you want to have some entity belongings. So what do we do as in the area? Now you want to do something about your license, then what do? You do estate agency practice. You can do business expansion into other things, the horizontal way, or you can do a cross-region collaboration to have more regional practice. Major firms are usually started as a single firm in a small place and later on expands its wings to bigger geographical areas. So of course there are smaller firms also coming together from joining together from one small firm becoming two small firms to become 10 small firms together. So this is all regional collaboration. Of course, what I think important is friendship. When you get to your second stage or third stage of your life, coming to senior age, friendship is important. So doing something together as inculcating friendship is something which I want to cherish. Similarly, also doing more expansion and collaboration, we tend to learn more things from each other and trying to, being a good way of benchmarking ourselves over the time with others in the same profession. So how we are going to do this? We do this on a focus group and using info technology in the sense that platforms will be the hardware, the system that we are putting our focus on. So we can also do other things like podcasts, roadshows, and become YouTubers, influencers in the same platform. So let me just continue into smaller parts. So if we know of actually estate agency practice is actually a two-sided network. So this, as I explained earlier in other videos also, in fact, one side is the negotiators and another side is the public. So what we are doing as an estate agency is actually a platform, some sort of a playing field for the negotiators to bring forward their properties and then for the public to come and look at the listings. So this is how we act as a intermediary. So we are like a platform of a Lazada or a Shopee where sellers who are able to put their product on the platform and then the buyers actually come to the platform to look at the product that is on sale. So this is the simple analogy. So you may ask, what then is the vendor? Who actually become the vendor? Because the vendor are the one who owns the property. So in this case, the vendor in fact actually hides behind the agency or hides behind the negotiator. So the negotiator gets the property from the vendor and then put it on sale or for rent at the facilitated platform. So this platform is the estate agency. So of course the legal background of this is the agent, the negotiator agent are appointed by the vendor. So there is a legal appointment, the legal position of the agent to act for the vendor. So this is agency contract. Part X of the Contracts Act 1950. So whatever we do, actually we do under this part of the law and it is legitimate. So continuing discussion on the difference between platform, the thinking that we have for the estate agent's office to play the role as a platform. Traditional way of doing business, a lot of time we only serve one side, one customer side. Whereas in the platform business, we actually serve at least two sides. So that's why it's called two-sided network. And usually in summary, we want to emphasize that the angle of looking at platform business is more of a pull marketing rather than the push marketing. Traditionally, as estate agents, we kind of do the push marketing. We have a listing, then we go to our potential client and then we push him to buy. Whereas in the more matured sense of looking at the platform as an agency platform, agency should market itself as a center of a reference so that people come to this agency to get the products that they want or get the listing that they want, and they trust this platform, this agency to play the role as an independent intermediary. So it's more like a pull marketing rather than a push marketing. So this maybe is a kind of a thinking that we want to distinguish ourselves from the traditional way of doing estate agency. In a nutshell, we as an estate agent office should think of ourselves as more like a independent intermediary rather than siding to one side, siding to our client, trying to push the other side, the third party to buy. So this is I appreciate how the new way of doing estate agency is about. The new way is to do it as a platform, not to do it as a conventional, being appointed by your vendor or client and then try to push to your other end side, which is the public or the potential buyer. So this is two very important bar to signify the difference of traditional compared to the platform marketing. So this, I want to spend some time. On the left hand side is called the producer. So this, in our estate agency, this part is negotiator. The other side, on the right hand side, the users, this side is actually the buyer, potential tenant. They are the public, the third party. So as you can see, we have to handle our negotiator as a estate agency office. We also need to handle our potential buyer and tenant, who are the user or the public in this case. But without the negotiator bringing in the property as well as the listing, we cannot have the users or the public that comes in to look at the property. So we have to rely on negotiator giving us a good basket of properties, and on the other hand, the users or the public will be attracted to the agency because the agency has good product to sell. So this is the interaction between two-sided network inside a platform. In this case, I can also use the word as complementor or contributor. So the negotiators are the contrimentor or the contributor. They are the person who bring forward the listings, and this also so-called interaction on itself, as well as the interaction between the two groups. So this is cross-network. So one network, which is the negotiator, will cause the other network, which is the public, the user public, to interact. So there are internal interaction as well as between the two party interaction, the two group interaction. An example here is negotiator who bring in more negotiator. A negotiator bring in the second negotiator, bring in the third negotiator. Whereas the users from looking at the first negotiator user, so this is user looking at negotiator 1, user is number 2. The user side, the public also bring in more public to bring in number 4 and number 6 to interact with the increasing number of negotiators. So the firm, the agency firm, increase in numbers of negotiators, bringing more products and more listings would attract more negotiators to come and join the firm, as well as more users or more third-party buyers, third-party tenants to come to the same agency to transact. So this is how this two-sided network works. So this definition is by the Harvard Business Review, the two-sided market strategy for two-sided market. This is already like 20 over years ago, 20 years ago. Now it's 2024, so it's about 18 years ago. It's a market for product and services, bring together groups of users in a two-sided network, and they actually provide, the network provide infrastructure and rules that facilitate the two groups interaction, right? So this is our interpretation, my interpretation for platform. So what platform I'm doing are actually looking at using the platform for fostering the relationship or interaction between the negotiator as well as the public who comes forward to this platform because of listing that is populated by the negotiators. But again, you need to understand that also, there is a need of an office, whether it is a platform which is online, or is it interaction between groups of people? It usually would require an office. So either it is an agency office or it is an IT office. A platform needs a place to work on its plans. So this means that we also need to understand that platform is actually built by people, and people actually are the one that comes to the office. So agency office, where should it be? So this, I want to emphasize this topic on agency office is not because just it's complying to the standard, the MEAS standard. It also need to appreciate the interaction of a business, whereby who are you serving? That's why who is your target audience? Your office should be near to your target audience. No? So that is the argument. So here, before we go into the answer of where should the office be, where should it be, we need to understand the part, whether the office is for our client vendor or is it for our third-party potential buyer and tenant, which is the correct interpretation of the office. Is it that the vendor is more important, so we need to have our office near to the vendor, or is it the third party is important when we entertain our potential buyer and tenant? So this part, later on you would appreciate the discussion, because we eventually talk about foreign properties. So in foreign property sense, is your office near to the foreign property, or is it your office is near to a potential purchaser or potential tenant of the foreign property? So in a lot of cases, actually our office kind of debated whether it should be near to the property or it should be near to the purchaser. Let us throw this idea around. Is it the frequency of visit that determines the place of the office? Whether the location or property is important because you need to always commute to do the viewing for the property? Or is it more important that you need to have an office for the so-called potential buyer and potential tenant to come to the office to sign certain agreement, or they have issues of complaint, there is need of training or there is a need of keeping records and point of meeting. So let us divide to two, the vendor and the third party. Look at this. Actually, meeting the vendor is very seldom. We only meet the vendor once in a while. But then meeting with the third party is a lot. A lot of times we meet with the third party, especially when the third party is viewing the property. So we meet with the third party in the place of viewing, which is the property address. So looks like this is the issue. Vendors property viewing many times, and office meeting by vendor or third party is actually very infrequent. We don't actually do a lot of meeting up with the vendor. Just probably appointment time, engagement time, discussion time, only once in a while, and a lot of things is done online as well. So if buyer and seller actually are in the same location, they are from the same place, then office should be situated in the place which is nearby the property, because you need to commute to the property to do the viewing. So buyer and seller of the same township, is very easy to understand that they come to the location of the property. Sometimes the seller no time, then as an agent you help the seller to operate the viewing, and then the office basically is not the meeting place. The meeting place between buyer and seller is the property the property for rent or property for sale. Usually office basically serve just as a reference point if there is any need of coming to the office to sign any document. So traditional agency usually in this case is same location with the property, same place with the buyer and the seller, and then there is a lot of intense competition now for this format of doing estate agency practice. So if you do estate agency work like in the traditional way, then you would be looking at very much intense competition. Maybe low margin, not much of a choice when you say, well, one agency is doing the same job as the other agency, so there is a competitor in the market and people are cutting down fee. So there is this overcrowded issue in the traditional way of doing agency. Similarly, the developer who appoints the agency also have the same dilemma. They are basically selling to the same local buyer, also using the same agency or different launches. So new agency cannot compete with the existing one because the existing agency already been serving the developer well. So there's no purpose of having a new agency whereby the new agency cannot offer anything different because they are doing the traditional way, doing the same sourcing for the local buyers to buy the local product. So if you are an agency new into the business, what additional benefit that can you bring forward to this developer over the existing agency? So you got to have to offer something better, or else you'll be thinking of cutting down fee, and it becomes a involution. It becomes a very bad competition where fees are thinning down and work is actually become more and more difficult to carry out. So the common tricks that a lot of new agency would do would be saying that they're using new technology. They have younger agents. They have actually better way of targeting the younger market segment. So these are the usual, excuses that they give. They have different way of doing things, more efficient way of doing things. They have investor clubs. They have also all kinds of storytelling. And in fact, there are some even saying that they are able to get buyers from other places. So all these are hearsay in that sense. So do you have a system to show to your developer that, well, in our system of doing things, in our ways of doing things, we have an extra advantage on the getting buyer for you? So is there a way that you can show to your potential developer companies to give you appointment to represent them, because you are able to show by showing certain data or showing certain mode of promotion, your channel of promotion, that you are able to bring in bigger scale buyers. So a lot of time it is all bragging, bragging, because agents are naturally the people who boss around. So this is a characteristic of agents. There are a lot of hypes. It is all about this. I just want to narrow down here just to give you an example, because a lot of time senior agents will always use this so-called sales pitch. One would be, I have so many years, I've been doing this, I have closed many cases, I am very close to developer ABC, XYZ, whatever. I have done a lot of deals, and my biggest paycheck was how much and how much. In fact, there can be claims that you cannot prove, right? So you have also another type who says that he has been with a developer for many years and he knows the inside out how the developer think, and they actually work well with certain developer because they are their family members or friends or has been around for many years since secondary school. So it all boils down to showing off, breaking their track record and how close they are with their big developer friends. So if they are so good with their developer friends, then why is there the need that they go to another developer and ask for deals? So this is sometimes what developers are saying. So you have been already working with so many other developers, so why should you come and work for me as a small upcoming developer? So this is all about business. So therefore, what is your reflection? What can you conclude? So a lot of time, estate agency practice in the market is like very much closed door type of business where you tie to a network of people. So to the more influential and powerful, they will say that they are close friends, family members of certain big, rich developer company. Everyone is bragging about their own track record. But then actually, if you think about it, all these track records, can it be reproducible into a new business? Can it be done repeatedly over the same so-called buyer and the seller? Do you get a repeat buying on the same property over and over by the same buyer? It is obviously the answer is not true. You cannot be buying and buying the same property, because the same property who is in supply, if it is so good supply, it will be finished off very soon. So there is no more left for you to buy. If there is a lot of stock left, there is a lot of supply or over and over supply, that means the property is not a good investment. It's left with stock that is unsold. So if that is the case, why should a potential buyer keep on buying a property that is not producing result? So this is definitely not true. But then the thing is, are we thinking along this line of logic or not? A lot of time emotions creep in, and we are not thinking along this logical analysis. You are trying actually to rub in new buyer using some old tricks, and some of these old tricks are actually already debunked by the process of time. So people understand that some projects actually fail, and those mistakes they have made, they do not want to repeat. And you are using the same old mistake that they have repeated on the older project onto the new project. Some of these new projects may entirely be different compared to the old ones. So can you use old tricks to open the new frontier? So everyone is using the same old tricks, claiming that they are so connected. So is that trick still effective? Why is it still effective? If it is no more effective, then why is it so that you are still using the same old tricks? So we are talking about a deeper issue, whether estate agency practice is just to make money, just selling something to make money, and that's it. You are on very surface of making money, or there is a deeper sense of your journey in the estate agency practice. There is some kind of passion that you have, that you want to establish a long-term objective of doing something in the estate agency industry. I will borrow from Simon Sinek's Start with Why to answer these few questions. So Simon Sinek, author on this book, Start with Why, is talking about the deeper part of understanding why you are involved in the business. Most of us will answer a lot of time what we do rather than why we do it. So the outer circle is what we do. So what we do is selling for service. We're doing a service of helping our clients, helping our vendor to sell or to rent their properties. How we do it? We usually do it through word of mouth, through promotion. And why we do it? Because we do it for money. A lot of time this is the surface that we see how people answer why in a job or in a career. So reach a circle of people like our friend agent Jolo has done a lot of havoc in Malaysia, and is now a fugitive. Do we actually think about having him as a role, as a potential role as in an agent? You have the best connection and the biggest network, and therefore you just gautim the rich and the powerful, and therefore you actually achieve your life goal. Is it true, or is it really the case? So I'm going to do this on the part 2, which is to focus, switch our focus, or shift our traditional thought on doing estate agency in more of like an agricultural sense. In the old days, where you get a piece of land because it is rich, agriculture land, so you are able to plant more crops and then yield more fruits, and therefore you stick on to this agriculture. And then the challenging this agriculture thoughts into industrialization, thinking about estate agency not just like a piece of fertile land, in thinking about industrialization of estate agency practice in what we do, so that we can establish a way out for doing a movement we call a movement of focus groups. So this is my platforms. We have about 6 different platforms. From the right hand side, which is land, just land info, which is a platform for land. We have mid-term rent online, which is for short-term rental. We have Findway, which is a geo-linking of businesses. We have My Real Property Online, which is profiling ourselves. And then we have Contract to You, which is indexing of property. And I myself is running my own self proprietorship firm called Sinjun Properties. We have a consortium which we say we are under Agent MY Online, which is a platform company that operate all my platforms. So let me bring you to the second part of the talk. See you there.